I don't think we really have taken into consideration how big it is that this is the first time we've seen a canon Luke Skywalker in this era in Star Wars lore, truly canon.
I called it.
It's never happened before, ever.
Wait, no, Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm saying like
But
live action though.
this would be like what, like 7 or 8 years after that appearance. I think that
Yeah,
appearance in Battlefront 2 is pretty quickly after.
It's right
Endor.
after. Yeah, it's right after Endor.
True. Yeah.
And this is 6 years later. So
Yeah,
roughly.
and so that's the thing is this is the first time we see a canon Luke Skywalker live action outside the video games, which they did give us a tease. If you go back and listen to our Battlefront 2 review that me, Jason, Aaron Montoya did a while back, or who was it? It was me, Jason, someone else. It was a long time ago.
It was like our second episode.
Yeah, it was like our second or third episode, and we said if you're a Star Wars fan, you got to go play that game. Like you're missing out on a good Star Wars story if you don't do it. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, but that'll never happen. So we have to ask the question, first of all, does Luke Skywalker work for us in this episode? Do we buy that this is real? Like, do we buy that, like, okay, yes, I like this representation of Luke Skywalker. Caleb, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, it gave me a flashback to the beginning of episode 6 when he's entering Jabba's palace.
Yes.
Because it's kind of the same kind of like stoic calmness of him, going through and, taking guys out, but without any effort. And then he gets there and he's, just talking very calmly. He's not really showing that much emotion. You get this feeling that, yeah, he's in his Jedi mode here. And we know that Luke can be like emotional for sure because he's shown that. But in this setting, he's showing the same kind of emotional calmness and stability that he showed there. And it's funny is you kind of get another, throwback to that at the end with Boba Fett actually going into Jabba's palace. But it definitely worked for me because you can see Luke's character there. And even though like, I know a lot of people have problems with how it looked, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I mean, for it being on TV, like it's a TV show, it's pretty good. And I think I like what Ryan pointed out earlier about the different forms of like lightsaber, like combat that he was showing, and it being part, Anakin, part Obi-Wan, part Yoda, like all of his, like getting all of his training. That's super cool. And just like the level of detail with that. And I think all of that, it works. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love everything you just said. Mikey, we're talking about Luke now. Does that work for you? I think you came in right as we were talking about. Does that work for you?
In a sense. I mean, I can't really give it the pass that Caleb did with it being a TV show, because the whole reason that they're making these episodes so short is that they can make them the quality of the movies. So when I can't even tell when Luke's lips are even moving when he's talking, that's kind of a bad thing for me. So it immediately took me out of it because I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever seen those deep fake things where it's like YouTubers that can make stuff look like human, like easily. When I see like a big show like this do that, where I'm like, man, they definitely could have did a better job with that. That kind of takes me out of it. But I love that Luke was there. And the whole scene where he's like walking through and just making like decimating everything. I mean, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But as soon as I saw his face, I was like, man, really? But
Man,
I don't know.
Okay. Rex, go ahead.
I mean, I totally called it, right, guys?
You did.
You did.
You did. I mean, we were like,
You did.
You were like, this is verbatim. Rex is like, dude, what if Luke showed up? And you're like, no, it'll never happen. You're an idiot. Get out of here. You know what I mean?
It was kind of jokingly, but I did think like, I mean, he is a Jedi and he's probably, getting
alive. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably in the area. Yeah, I think this totally works for me. Seeing Luke was so awesome. And I think to Mikey's point, there was like one scene where he did look really fake in one scene in particular. But besides that, it worked for me. I thought it was pretty good CGI for what it was for a show. I know the costs of, that kind of animation can be crazy expensive. So who knows how much it actually costs? It could have been astronomical. We don't know, but
Yeah, we don't, and that's the thing is I don't want to know. Ryan, go for it.
Yeah, so far the best facial de-aging I've seen was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And you almost, especially like with Michelle Pfeiffer in the initial scene, you almost can't tell that there's anything digital that's going there. It was incredibly impressive. I just think that it takes an enormous amount of time, even more than, but I mean budget too, but I think animation and stuff like that takes more time, even more than budget than probably the show had. But yeah, so animation wasn't as good as that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I still thought the moments worked really well. I enjoyed that. I mean, I didn't actually expect them to have Mark Hamill back doing the voice, so that was a fun surprise. I don't know why I didn't expect that, but that was cool. I also loved that for the second time they side-eyed the recent trilogy by saying that talent is nothing without training. That's twice that these guys have taken a direct opposite stance to what the last few movies have done, and I'm totally on board with that. I really liked that.
We're gonna come back to what he just said here in a second.
okay.
Oh, go ahead, Rex.
I was just gonna say, when did they say that?
At the very end.
At the very end, when Luke was essentially explaining why he's got to take Grogu with him, he says that he's very powerful, but power without training is nothing.
Yeah, I think I missed that, but
how dare you?
Okay. But I also loved how like refined Luke felt. He felt very refined. It felt like his final form in a sense, like
he's in his prime here. And in Legends, I'm reading through the Dark Empire right now trilogy, Dark Horse, and you very much get the sense that Luke has become like a Yoda of sorts in terms of. Go ahead, Ryan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this to me is the type of Luke that you would see in the comics they did years ago, where literally he's not only deflecting like turbo laser fire with the Force, but he's literally crushing AT-AT walkers, just like reaching up. And, so
no problem.
That was awesome. Effort. Yeah, exactly. And the confidence he had was, I just thought they portrayed that so well. He was so confident and he was a force, to be reckoned with. Yeah. And I really like it. Yeah. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah.
But they did that so well.
Yeah, they did. Jace, Ryan, I'm going to throw, you already said your thing, right? So now it's Jace's turn. Jace, does Luke Skywalker work for you in this episode?
Yeah, he worked extremely well for me. I thought, and then again, I was spoiled on it. This is the part I was spoiled on 4 hours before. So I had 4 hours to think on it before I saw the episode. So when I saw him, I was like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it worked extremely well. Out of all the Jedi that could have shown up, I think Luke was the best choice. The only thing I really wish is if it was another Jedi, I felt like there would have been. I feel like if it was another Jedi, the screen time would have been longer on this episode, because I would have loved to see more conversation between Luke and Mando, or Luke with like any of the others. But it makes sense that they didn't with the CGI and how he looked and like all that. But other than that, like the way he carried himself was like, I forgot who said it. I think it might have been Caleb walking into Jabba's palace. Like he just like carries like this like weight with him of him being like the last Jedi, like to be like proper in that kind of code and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I think it was, when I saw him, I was like, that's Luke Skywalker. That's not like, someone else writing Luke Skywalker as a different character. That's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, well, that's well.
It's not Rian Johnson's Luke Skywalker. It's Luke Skywalker's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that here in a minute. And me and Jace kind of have a special. I think we all here have a special connection with Luke Skywalker, and like everyone kind of has their hero. And for me, growing up, it was always Luke. it was a very interesting thing for me, and to just to say for this episode, Luke for me 1000% works in this episode. No questions asked. I didn't even notice the CGI problems. I don't even know what you're talking about, because to me it looked real. I wasn't looking for any imperfections because I took it at face value for what it was. And the fact of the matter is that, hold on, give me a second. The fact of the matter is that, like, they have the technology to do it, like the de-aging stuff. The quality of show that we got in the first season versus what we got in the second season is insanely different. The second season is so much better in terms of quality, even with the space fights. So if they used a lot of their budget for the CGI in space, that would make a lot of sense why there maybe wasn't a lot to scrape together. But we're getting shows, so much stuff coming in the future that's going to be on the same level of quality as what we're getting here, most likely. And it's insane to think that there is an opportunity to have more canon on screen Luke Skywalker. No, that we're not going to debate about what happened. Like, this is what happened. You know what I mean? And that's just a really exciting thing to talk about. Go ahead, Jace, really fast.
I just wanted to say really quick. I don't know if I said it, if it looked weird or not, or if I thought it looked a little bit off. When I said, like, I understand why they didn't do a bunch of it, I was just thinking, like, the budget and the level of, like, detail that you have to put into that and the hours of work to make it look real. I thought it looked real. When I saw it, I was like, holy crap, that really looks like him. I didn't mean to say like it looked like off, because I don't think it looked that off. Like, you could obviously tell it's CGI, but like,
I think it might have been Rex.
It looked real to me.
I think that might have been, it was either Rex or I'm sorry, it was either you or someone else. Go ahead, Caleb.
I was just going to say, too, a lot of people have wanted Sebastian Stan to come in and stand in as a younger Luke Skywalker. And, I think that just as many people that would like that move, there would be just as many people that would hate that, because I think a lot of people, same thing with with Han Solo, not being played by Harrison Ford, how that kind of hit wrong for a lot of people. I think the same thing would happen with Luke Skywalker. I think a lot of people would have problems with that, and that's probably why they chose not to do that. Not to mention, who knows how expensive it would have been to get Sebastian Stan to actually come in and do that.
Yeah, that's true. Go ahead, Jace.
And I can see the problem with that, but like, at the same time, like, it's the same thing with Heath Ledger's Joker. No one's gonna live up to that. So you just gotta, like, look at things like at a different, like, perspective when, like, someone comes on to play your character. Like, I think Sebastian Stan would be an excellent choice, honestly, because I've seen the pictures of them side by side looking at each other. And Sebastian Stan's a good actor. Like, I've seen him in a lot of different stuff. So I think Sebastian Stan would be good, but nobody is good. There's never going to be a chance that everyone's going to be 100% happy with who's going to take over someone that's a role model to so many people.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, nothing beats the real thing. Go ahead. You first, Mikey.
I agree. I feel like on both, on kind of what all you guys have been touching on, if he's going to be a character in this show and this is the quality of CGI, I know you said you didn't see a difference, Gabe, but going from him to like back to Pedro Pascal and back to him, it's so jarring for me. I mean, it's not bad CGI. I mean, we've seen bad CGI. But it's just going from a CGI character to a real character, back and forth. I don't like that. So personally, I wish it would have been a recast. I like the Sebastian Stan idea, but I don't really care who. But I mean, if they want to have Luke and continue his story, I don't want to have to watch CGI Luke for a while. Like a whole season. I enjoy Luke and I love the character. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I don't know. And also, that you saying that Joker thing brought back one of my main immediate likes. When that stormtrooper or that pilot is holding the gun to what the scientist at the beginning, I'm like, is this Dark Knight? What is going on? Because he's like doing the whole monologue thing. I really enjoyed that, but that reminded me of that. Sorry.
That's funny. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, and I know I brought up the Sebastian Stan thing, and I just want to say I completely agree with Jason, Mikey. Like, I think he would do great, and I think it would be a great recasting. And I like the Solo movie, so I'm not one of the people that would have a problem with it, but I'm just saying people would have a problem with it, and that's probably why Disney decided not to do it.
Whatever possessed you to check out the podcast or the YouTube channel today, I just want to say thank you so much for doing so. If this is your first time here, I would appreciate it, if you would consider subscribing. As you can tell, it's not just me here anymore. I mean, I do stuff by myself, but the podcast is going to reside here from now on, in video form. So if you want to see more content, if you want to be notified, every time we post something, whether it be a clip, a podcast, a review, an interview, whatever it may be, if it's gaming stuff, make sure you click that bell and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Thanks for sticking around, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the wannabe critic.